Hey, what's up everybody? Tony here. Today I wanted to do a follow-up video with this Charvel Super Stock limited run guitar that I have here. I've already done a few videos on it and somewhat of a review, I guess, or review or whatever you want to call it, playing and talking about this guitar. Yeah, it's I've had a lot of buzz with this instrument on my YouTube channel. I don't have a big channel here, but for the size that it is, there seems to be a lot of people interested in this guitar. I made a few modifications to it, and I want to talk a little bit about that and just share some more thoughts with you on it, and now that I've had it for a little bit longer here. So one thing before I dive into what I've done to this guitar is that I've been really impressed with the Charvel community all around, from on their fan page on Facebook, how many people actually follow it, and how cool everybody is, and also impressed on how well these guitars sell on Reverb. Maybe it's because they're moddable. Maybe it just is. Maybe more people like them than I thought they did. So you Charvel fans rock, man. The changes that I made to this guitar, nothing needed to be done after my initial setup, and nothing needed to be done to this guitar. But I sometimes get bored, and I had actually intended on doing some stuff when I purchased this guitar. So I decided to go ahead and follow through with some of those experiments and ideas that I had to mod this thing out a little bit. So one of the things I did was I changed out the pickup. It didn't, like I said, didn't need it. I wanted to do it. The Wolfgang sounded good to me. I didn't have any issues with it. It sounded really good. It was a higher output pickup. I think it was their 16K. This one is the Seymour Duncan Custom Shop 1978, which is modeled after the original PAF that Eddie Van Halen used. And I like it a lot. It's a 9K output. This is the trimbucker. The pickup that was in it was a standard pickup, and the poles didn't line up directly under the strings, which I thought was kind of interesting that they would put that in here on a guitar that's equipped with a Floyd. But they did. It still sounded really good. But this is a trimbucker, and now as you can see, the strings are directly over the poles, and it's just more articulate. You can the harmonics are better. The definition is better when it's picking up the vibration of the strings. So yeah, so I put that on here. I like it. It's one of my favorite all-time pickups. I've used them for years, and something recently that I found out is that Doug Rappaport uses this on a lot of his guitars. It's on his custom signature Nags guitar, and I know he uses it on one of his Friedman Vintage S guitars, and one of his Les Pauls or whatnot. Anyways, he's a great guitar player, and you should check him out, Doug Rappaport. And so I found that out here recently and thought that was pretty cool. I put a push-in bar in the Floyd, and of course this is one I mentioned in the other video that I set it up to where it's flush to the body. And I talked about how I use spacers for that, and to accomplish that. Has a D tuner here to get to drop D faster. These are not necessary, but I like them. It just helps you get there a little faster, like I said, and it's I think they look cool too. And then I changed out the knob. This is just it was a black knob that I buffed out with my Dremel tools to give it that more relic style look. It's a smaller and shorter, and just the circumference of the knob is smaller than what was on here. I just thought this one looked better. The other one's cool too. The other one was quite a bit heavier too. It was larger, and I think it's a chrome plated brass or whatever. I did change the pot out too. Initially I said in the other video that it was a low friction EVH pot, and it was a low friction pot. It just wasn't an EVH. It said Korean on it. I didn't need to change it, but I had an EVH pot sitting in my toolbox, in the bottom of my toolbox, and it was still in its package, and it had been in there for a couple years, and I said, what the heck, I'm going to use it. So I did, and so that's in there, and I left a Screaming Demon in here. I actually like this pickup quite a bit. They're both 9K, but I have this one set lower, and yeah, I used it in the last video I did, a jam video, kind of an 80s metal thing in E flat. The strings are set up for E flat, and I don't know if I already mentioned this, but these are the Hipshot locking tuners, the open gear locking tuners like you'd find on a Friedman Cali. So I really like these. I used them on another Charvel mod or custom project thing I did. I actually recently sold that guitar, so very quickly, by the way. So I changed out the strings on this guitar. This is a different gauge. These are the 9.5s. I was in Nashville a couple weeks ago and went into a music store, saw them on the wall and said, oh yeah, I've been meaning to try some of those. So I purchased a few packs, put them on here to try them out, and actually they really work well for this guitar. 10s were a little too tight, 9s were too slinky. So I usually use 10s, that's my go-to. If that doesn't work, typically what usually works or I end up using are hybrids, which is 9 to 46 instead of 10 to 46. But these are 9.5 to 44. Again, it's still tuned to E flat, and it works really well in standard tuning as well. Probably better. I like them better in standard tuning, but they do work very well, and I was impressed with those. So I did that too, and yeah, so that's that. This guitar really scratches the itch for me when playing like 80s rock and metal, and it just gives off that vibe. I enjoy playing this guitar when playing that style of music more than any of the other guitars I have. When this came along, it did it for me, and I'm real happy with it. So anyways, you guys out there, these are limited run. I don't know if they're still selling these, but if one comes up and this is kind of your thing, they're worth trying out. I mentioned this in the other video that I wasn't sure how consistent they are across the board. You know, this isn't the most perfect guitar, but it's perfect for what I want to use it for. Yeah, that's it. I thought I'd share it with you and share those other thoughts with you and the upgrades that I made to it. Let me know what you think. You know, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And just if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll do my best to try to answer them. But don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and leave comments. Like I said, hit that bell button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You guys take care. Peace. Keep rocking. God bless. Until next time.